Season 2, Episode 2, Insurance Bros. I got my insurance bro Voss here. How are you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah. So introduce yourself real quick.
Absolutely. My name is Casey Kendall. I am the owner and operator of Prosperity North Advisors in Gilbert, Arizona. We specialize in commercial insurance. We've got a developed niche with assisted living. What do you do with your hands?
I don't know what I do with my hands.
Yeah. I just put them in your pocket. So we do a lot of assisted living, all types of commercial insurance. Typically, it's like all the high risk stuff that nobody either knows how to do, doesn't want to do. I love it all.
Nice.
Boss, please.
Boss, Spiros, Arizona Medicare Insurance Solutions, Spiros Financial. Spiros Financial is the agency. Arizona Medicare is the DBA for our Medicare side of the business. We are a life and health insurance brokerage. Yeah.
Life and health, like benefits?
Some benefits if it comes up. We mainly focus on Medicare and funeral arrangements, but we have contracts with life insurance and benefit companies for when it comes up in conversation.
Benefits scare the crap out of me.
Yeah, I don't like benefits at all, but it's just something we do. It's tied to everything, like the dental benefits, hearing, short-term, long-term disability, life insurance, just little things we can incorporate in what we do, health insurance, but mainly just Medicare. But we are growing right now, so we added a few extra contracts in, bringing on agents. So that I had a few more people reach out to me this week that want to.
You had an event this week too.
I did. I had a insurance agent networking event.
Nice.
Right at Joyride Taco in Central Phoenix.
Here's one of those things. Like I go to a few let's call it industry-based networking.
Right.
And people think, oh my gosh, am I going to hang out with my competition or potentially my competition? And I don't think it's like that at all. And I think that there's a few things going on. Like one, I'd love to be able to talk shop with someone else, right. At least, hey, I'm not alone in this. But there's also an education aspect. And I will jokingly tell you, I've never had an original idea in my entire life. I've just made it my own.
Just borrow.
So if I could hear someone else's idea and utilize it for my own, might as well.
The last couple of times, the January, February, so I'm just kind of getting this agent networking thing started. Mm-hmm. My agents have been there. And, once you start talking to each other, you see what each do besides the one insurance thing. And then I have an agent that does life insurance. So then people are like, hey, I need help with this. And then another one, two of them kind of connected and they're going to be working together on some other things. And so it's been good on that aspect. Also that, letting outside agents know that, they can come in and I've had a few reach out and say, hey, can I come to your event? Like, yeah, absolutely. Come on over. Just brainstorm. Really.
It's interesting. I had this conversation with a financial advisor this morning.
Yeah.
And he was asking me about niches, what's your niche? And I was like, assisted living. I'm pretty involved in the pest control community. I love service-based contractors. I love difficult stuff, whether they've got claims or, all the stuff really nobody wants to touch.
Yeah.
But when I review my own, let's say, journey in insurance, and I started with a big firm in downtown Phoenix. And, I was a sales guy and I was carrying a bag and making phone calls and all of that kind of stuff. The partners in that firm were like, you got to develop a niche. Where I'm at now, I guess my advice to an insurance person or anybody looking, not even insurance, beyond that, if you're developing a niche, of course, you've got to make the effort in it, but that niche will find you.
Right, yeah.
So when you think about it backwards, did I ever think that I would become the assisted living insurance guy? No. And if I told you how I even found out about it, you'd probably fall out of your seat.
Right.
But, here we are. So it was never my intention of that being a developed niche. But I was open enough that it created itself.
Yeah.
I just went along with it.
Yeah.
Now, it's also a very fluid market, and I'd love to talk about that. But
right. Yeah.
let's talk about like what your recruiting process looks like, what it means, like when you join Arizona Medicare, Spiros Financial, what does that look like for that end user? And when I say end user, I mean someone who is looking to establish their own business, control their own destiny. Totally, what does that look like? How does it get started? Those types of things.
So, it kind of bringing people on that want to have their own business. I wanted to have my own business, so I got into insurance, right? And it's been a few years, and now I have an assistant that helps me out. And now this year I'm focusing more on, recruiting and training and helping people out. In that aspect, my marketing duties have to roll over to my assistant. And my assistant's duties have to roll over to, an internal...
The assistant's assistant.
Assistant, yeah. Like an internal type.
The assistant to the regional director.
Right, yeah. And I never thought I'd, be at that point, but I love helping people out. So I love watching people grow and things. So when they come on, they go through the contracting process with, the Medicare carriers and the AHIP. And then we have a contract with an insurance carrier, One America. So we put people through that. And then we have funeral insurance pre-need, a contract through that. So we put people in those contracts. And then we do all-text planning. So we have a contract for that through another broker. And so we get everybody through the contracting process, which takes about a month or so to get through everything. But once something pops up, then we start working on that. And this year I'm doing a lot of recording myself on trainings and one-on-ones and just videos and then we have a back office with links for people to go to. But it's, it's learning the criteria, learning what we do, learning how to talk to people, learning what to say in different situations.
Are you supporting someone through, let's say, the licensing process?
I do,
mean, you got to take a test.
So we have, I have a breakdown, basically instructions on how to get from no license to contracted.
Oh, nice.
Like a little bit of a blueprint.
Yeah, like a roadmap.
Yeah, step by step on what you need to do first and get your insurance and different things. So I send that out to new agents. There's a few training classes you can do online. There's one that's cheap, and there's one that's expensive, and there's one that's in the middle. So, it's like the three little bears.
Yeah.
And they go through that, and I help them with that and any questions that come up and kind of how to do the training and studying. I do help them with the contracting and then the learning. Yeah, I mean, we're here every step of the way. If you want to get into this, we try to just help them get through where they want to be. And then we talk about the future and see, and then figure out how to get there. We also, I give everybody a spot on the website so they can have their own little platform, business cards, email address, a phone number if they need a business phone number.
It's like official.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's the whole nine. So people can have a different number besides their personal number as their business number. So they're not getting, so they can separate the two.
Sure.
So we do a lot of that and marketing materials for agents to go out in the field and, help out with different things. So they can set up booths and have banners and different things.
I found the life and health test to be much easier than the PNC. I passed both the first time.
I read through some of the PNC stuff and I was like,
Oh, bro. Just, it's very concentrated on dwelling and like home type of property. At least my test was. But yeah, it was, C's get degrees around here.
Right,
so.
yeah. You know what? Yeah, C got me through the test. 72.
No, well, I think I got a 73.
Yeah.
Nobody's asked me what I've ever gotten on the test when I've written their insurance. So
right. No, it never comes up. Only other agents.
Maybe if someone's watching this, ask me what I got on the test, and I'll give you a Starbucks gift card. How's that?
You only need a 70 to pass.
But it means you got to call me so I can quote your insurance.
That's right. Yeah. The testing isn't rocket science. I came from a construction background, so wasn't a genius by any means. Very, but I studied. I learned how to study and know how to do it. So you kind of skim through it, take the test, whatever you get wrong, go back and kind of study that back and forth.
We should talk about that. That's kind of like a side note. I'd love to make a video about how I took the test, because I think very similar. Like, I read the stuff and it's super dry. I mean, it's like reading a owner's manual.
Not exciting at all.
But I actually had a program. I don't remember who the school was through, but it would actually read it out loud for you, so I could just kind of follow along. Nice. And then just took the tests over and over and over again. And you couldn't move on to the next chapter until you at least got like a 90 on the test. But what I was shocked at, and so that was for life and health and P&C.
Oh, wow.
But what I was shocked at was how many of the questions from the study material were actually on the test itself.
Like nothing, it seemed like.
Yeah.
The test itself seemed like just a way to try to trick you into answering the same question you answered 4 times.
Yeah.
The 5th time wrong. It's like, come on.
So I have a theory where it's like, here's a question, right? Let's say something Medicare. Well, they're going to give you 4 shots, right? So you automatically have a 25% chance.
Right.
But when you got to read the question, then you reread the question, and then read the answers and reread the answers. That's how I did it.
Right.
And so what I would do is then automatically disqualify the 2 ridiculous answers. Throw these out. It's not A and it's not C. So it's either B and D. So which one of these makes the most sense? So now I took that 25% to 50%.
Yeah.
And I would actually keep a tally. I'd be like, I guessed on this one. This one goes for a mark right here.
Yeah.
But if I knew it, I didn't put it down. And so when I would push go on the test, I would say, okay, I at least got a 70 on this.
Well, that's good. You cut the tally of it. I just go through each one and
don't change your answers, though. We already talked about
never
that.
Change
never
your
change.
Answers.
Go with your gut.
Yeah, definitely go on your gut on that one.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've got a lot of the infrastructure in place to really, to really seriously set someone up for success.
Yeah.
Whether that's appointment with carriers. I mean, at least I did as a new agent. I'm like, what do you need? I need an appointment. I can't just call XYZ carrier and be like, Barry, can I sell for you?
Time right up.
They want certain commitments and they want, hey,
quotas.
I want you to bring in at least 10 policies a month. And it's like, oh, gosh.
I had that question. Somebody asked if we have quotas. And I was like, well, we don't have quotas. Because we're big enough now to where the agency itself is meeting its a minimum quota to keep the contract.
Sure.
So we're okay on that. So the agents don't have to have quotas. If you go with another broker or another agency or something, then people do, because they like to keep things coming in. And you know what? I don't want to pay for a phone if you're not going to work.
Right.
But as far as quotas, at the end of the day, you're an independent insurance agent, and it's great. You have your own business, your own company, you're your own boss. The downside of that is you can really
make whatever you want to make.
Yes. The downside of that is you make your own schedule, and that's where an agent loses. They make their own schedule. Like, I don't have to work today because I make my own schedule. I can take the morning off. I can take the afternoon off. I can do whatever I want. I make my own schedule. But really, if you're not working and getting at least 2 appointments a day for sometime in the future, you're not making any money. If you're not making any money, you're not paying your bills. So then, by the end of the month, you have no money coming in because you took all that time off, or you just slacked a little bit every day. Now you can't pay your bills. Now you're looking for a day job again.
Or drive an Uber,
or driving
food
an Uber,
or
something on a side job. So if you really want to make it work, you got to kind of go all in and hustle every day. I was talking to a possible recruit the other day, and it was just like, you got to go out and and meet people every single day, and talk to people, and you got to it's a hustle, it's a grind being an independent business owner, let alone an insurance agent.
I think it's good though. Like, I've never had a quota not be raised. I've been a sales guy for 25 years.
Yeah.
I can't believe I said that out loud. But, since probably 2000, 2001, I've been in sales, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's copiers, software, insurance. And I've always had a quota. I maintain a quota for myself because I've got a certain standard of which
everyone should have their own internal quota.
Yeah, absolutely.
That they need to hit for their bills.
But I think as an organization, I think you could sit down with a new agent and say, what do you want to make? And back into that number.
Back it down. Like, you want to make $100,000 a year, it's going to take, this many. It's over the course of 12 months. It's going to take this many sales a month at this average, which
means you're going to have to talk to this many people. I used to call it kissing frogs. You're going to have to kiss this many frogs to find that prince, and then you got to keep finding that prince over and over and over again. And so, if you want to make $100,000 and the average deal size is $1,000,
there you go.
There you go. How many phone calls, how many people do you have to meet to get that $1,000 sale?
Right. Yeah.
And then do that 100 times.
Right. On the Medicare side, it's roughly $300 commission per person you helped change the plan. So it's not a lot. So at 100,000, you need about
3,000,
320 clients, right?
Wow, yeah.
Because every 100 is about 30,000. But then on the pre-need side, it's 20% commission of the overall death benefit. So if you write a funeral plan for $5,000, that's $1,000 commission.
Holy crap!
Right. So you help somebody with their Medicare, you make $300, and then you write them in for a funeral plan, and then you make
all of a sudden you're making like $1,500,
right, per person. So at that point, it goes from 300 people down to
150,
100, 100 people, maybe less.
Sure.
So you can do it, and that's where our niche is senior healthcare solutions.
Yep.
But helping people in assisted livings or needing assistance, because the Medicare is there, the funeral planning is there, the Altex planning is there. There's talking to the POAs. There's long-term care insurance, retirement planning, annuities, life insurance. All these little things kind of peel into the one area niche that we're in, and just stay focused with what you're doing. And agents do pretty good once they realize that we can't do everything. We just do this one thing, and we're good.
Yeah.
So they see that, and they want to come over and they join the team. Join the team.
Got to support the team.
Right. Yeah.
The team. You mentioned assisted living.
Yeah. So assisted livings, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on with that on the insurance side?
Yeah. So I would say that much like every portion of business, much like every portion of especially insurance, maybe even to an extent the assisted living world, whether that's on the licensing side or the caregiving side, it's a very fluid market. Right. When I say fluid market, it's a constant evolution. There's constant movement in the market when it comes to who are the players. And when I say players, like if a carrier suffers either a big loss, it's not profitable, then they'll get out of that market. And we've definitely seen that over the last 3 to 4 years.
Right. You get a lot of investors in buying assisted livings, and they just throw managers in, and then they just file claims.
Right.
And, a carrier gets enough claims, they don't want to play that game anymore.
Well,
does that come up a lot?
Absolutely.
And then they pull out of the market. Like a carrier recently pulled out of the market entirely.
Yeah.
So you can't even have access to that one anymore.
Right. And so when I started, I think quoting assisted living 3 or 4 years ago, it was really
And actually 3 or 4 years ago, a bunch of carriers pulled out of the market.
Yeah, there was
leaving only one to monopolize everybody.
Yep. And so really what that did is that left them the ability to charge whatever they wanted.
Right.
When you have a monopoly like that. And so with that fluid market, 3 or 4 years ago, you had 6 carriers that were willing to look at it. Oh, this is this type of risk. We have that. It's a profitable market for us. We'll quote that business. That's gummed down to like 1, which is why we have sought either private insurance company known as risk retention groups, which are they're offering the same coverage. It's all within compliance, except it acts more like a mutual company.
It's a bigger umbrella.
Yeah, it's you're not dealing with a lady in a blue apron. You're dealing with someone who understands that specific field,
right?
Who has enough experience because they battled it out in court to understand the risk. And we've got special pricing that we've been able to negotiate, which basically will take you down to about, let's say about $3 per day per bed, maybe $3.50.
That's not bad.
But all in $3 a day per bed to run your business. So if you've got 5 beds, you're talking $15 a day. You're fully insured, and you will never have to worry about anything. You won't have to worry about any type of liability, whether that's slip and fall. You won't have to worry about professional liability, which are the words we use. The words we use can be more dangerous than a crack in the sidewalk.
Right.
So whether that's a doctor will call it malpractice, a lawyer will call it E&O, we call it E&O, but it's professional liability, the words that we're using. And then the sexual abuse and molestation. I mean, we live in a world where that happens. And so the state puts a certain amount on there. We want to make sure that we're covered, but that's going to be the leading push. And then you've got a lot of little things in there like bed sores, elopement. What happens if someone gets out of your house? With that's dementia. Yeah. I mean, they're going to end up in a ditch somewhere, and you don't want that. So to be covered by those things gives you a well-rounded approach. And with the program that we've recently launched, all of that is included. And of course, we represent all the needs. We're always the first line of defense in a claim situation. So if you have a claim, you call me, and we're going to mitigate that loss, whether you're dealing with the direct victim or whether you're dealing with the family of the victim. Yeah. And so whether that's a medical procedure or an abuse allegation, whatever that is, we're the first line of defense. Let
me ask you a quick question. When somebody's applying for insurance, I know on life insurance, when we were doing that, they would ask, are you a skydiver? Do you travel to other countries? Yeah. And, no, I don't do anything. But then, with social media these days, people can look you up and see the kind of person you are. Oh, well, rock climbing without a rope, I don't think we can cover you. Does that come up on the assisted living side?
All the time.
I mean, you're licensed for one thing, but then everybody says they do everything so they can get business in. But does that hurt?
So with the market narrowing, so we've seen the market narrow like with the carriers that are pulling out, right? And they'll come and go, and this one might be here for a year. And if it's profitable, they'll stay. If not, then they're going to get out. But yeah, with the power of social media, and everyone wants to have a good marketing program. You're trying to get your name out there and all those types of things. Yeah. And this issue even goes beyond assisted living. But if you set up a profile on care.com or a place for mom or anything like that, do what you say you do. Don't throw a huge blanket trying to attract anything. So now carriers are making a distinction between assisted living, memory care, dementia care, and behavioral health. Those are all different categories, and they're going to be rated differently. And if you claim to do all of those, especially behavioral health,
well, because behavioral health could be anything. Now you're looking
Absolutely.
at sober living.
you could
And
be
the carrier's probably thinking like, oh, you're behavioral health. You have a bunch of,
substance abuse,
abuse people in there.
right.
And not realizing that you're just assisted living,
So there is, and I can post these, but there is a distinct difference, at least in the insurance world, of memory care versus assisted living. Memory care meaning that someone's dealing with dementia or memory loss, whereas assisted living is more of a
assisted
where
type.
we might make you breakfast, but you're able to walk out and watch TV.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than independent living, but it's not memory care where you have to have lockdown.
But going back, I have had situations where underwriters have reached out to me and said, we're looking at their profile on a placement website, and they're listing all of these different type of activities that they're doing, and that is potentially
and that's not what you told us, because what they told you.
Or even how you name the business. If it's Sunset Assisted Living, that's pretty self-explanatory. But if it's Sunset Assisted Living Memory Care Home for Adults, that could be anything.
Yeah.
And insurance is a negative experience, because you're dealing with loss.
Right.
You're dealing with financial loss, you're dealing with life loss, you're dealing with casualty as far as like someone getting hurt, those types of things. So underwriters are not sales guys.
No.
Underwriters are not business owners.
No.
But they are obligated to do everything in their power to protect the investment that the insurance company is making.
Right.
So they're going to take everything literal. So if you call yourself Sunset Memory Care, they're going to rate it for memory care. If you call yourself assisted living, they're going to do that. But if you have a broad name and then they start finding social media or your website or marketing, they're going to automatically assume the worst every single time. And that is
instead
insurance
of getting rated for one category, now you're rated for 5 categories.
Multiple categories, yeah.
And that $3 a day a bed jumps up to $10, and you're like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, well, this is what happened. I'm sorry.
Well, and where we really rely in a situation like that, and I had this recently come up where an assisted living home that was assisted living for elderly, which I believe that's the actual definition, had a social media platform profile that listed pretty much everything that could happen in Arizona: behavioral health, substance abuse. But their primary focus was really doing that. Now they're new, they're trying to attract people, but that actually ultimately turned to be detrimental, to where I had to get on the phone with the underwriter and say, let's take a step back. They're casting a broad net to get their name out there, but really this is what it is.
So you do go to bat for
Oh,
them.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good.
I have the same way that I would network with either another insurance agent or a financial person or anything like that. I maintain those underwriting relationships because I might have to make a phone call one day that's like, come on, bro, help me out on this.
Right.
And that happens weekly. And so that's me then leveraging that underwriter's trust in what we have delivered, meaning me, Casey, Prosperity North.
Right, yeah.
And so we do maintain those relationships. But if anybody has any other questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me. But insurance companies will take everything literal because that's all they have to go by.
Well, I mean, you're paying pennies on the dollar for them to pay for whatever goes wrong.
I mean, that,
So
and that's,
they don't want to pay it. Like we said, insurance companies don't want to pay out.
they're
But
for-profit organizations,
Yeah.
and so they'll take everything literal. But insurance is an agreement of an exchange for a small amount of money for a large amount of money,
yeah,
and that's where you get the value. If I pay you this, you have to pay this. Now, they don't have to renew you, but part of the contract is I'm exchanging, let's say, this $5,000 for upwards to $1 to $3 million.
right. Yeah.
Which, show me any other investment to where you can have that type of coverage. Now, you're not cashing it out,
No.
but
If something comes up,
if something
you're
comes
not
up,
paying out of pocket
you're
for
not
that.
paying out of pocket.
Yeah.
So that's where you get the value. Have prices gone up? Yeah. Again, it's a fluid market. Things aren't always going to be the way they are, and we don't really have a ton of control when it comes to other businesses making decisions, specifically insurance carriers, which is why we've sought out very, very specific relationships to cover this class here in Arizona,
Yeah.
with either a private insurance company or offering options that's going to work best for the insured, the end user.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's great that you went out and contracted someone in to come in and, accept this responsibility now that because no one else is here. And then that you're taking the initiative to keep the costs as low as possible.
It's an active process,
Yeah.
in which we are always chasing the best value for our clients.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
So how do you do all that on your own? Do you have an assistant?
No, I
Are
need
you
one
bringing
so
on
bad. Oh my
people?
gosh. I've flirted a lot with, I've had VAs in the past, a virtual assistant in the past.
Yeah.
I've got a virtual assistant company right now that's all over me. And would they do a good job? Sure. I'm not super excited about like an offshore aspect of it, mostly as security.
That's a tough one.
But ultimately, I think our plan is to bring in a VA, have them establish our processes. I mean, I don't have the time to download my brain.
Right.
So
No.
if I could pay a virtual assistant to download my brain, create those processes, then anybody that I bring in face to face or in a let's say work from home situation that wants to work with us is going to at least hit the ground running.
So
There's that fine balance there.
Right. So at that conference, I went to a while back, bringing somebody on. They said, write down everything you need done.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically everything you do that you want to take off your plate, write down everything you need done, everything you do. And when you're going looking for someone, be like, this is what I want. Like the job requirement, can you do Word? Can you do that? All that basic,
I
stuff that
assume
people put out
somebody
there.
can already do all of that.
What I need done specifically is, can you open up the computer, check my email, and categorize that? Can you go into my social media and make sure these posts go in the right place? Can you run my calendar, make sure everything's on it, and schedule people? These are the basic things I do every day.
But if someone's like, what's Word or what's PowerPoint, then that's
what I need done exactly.
Yeah.
And like Word and PowerPoint, that's great. I don't use a lot of PowerPoint. I use Word and I use some Excel,
Adobe,
and
PDF
Adobe
stuff.
and things like that. But like the specific things, kind of break it down to what you actually do and use, and that's what you need help with. So then when you're looking for someone, like, this is what I need. I don't need this broad spectrum of stuff. I just need this. Can you do this? And if you can't do that, then I'm going to go to the next person.
Yeah.
So have you done anything like that? Or
No, but that's where I'm going to be, and what I need to do, which is that essential download of my processes, whether that's the certificate process, the quoting process. You know, we talked a little bit about that last week, and I really internalized that after you shared it, where it was like, I have to start now tracking everything that I'm doing. Because we talked about it in the context of like, what are the top 3 most important things?
Right.
And so when I think about that, then I should be creating a list that says what will be the top most important things for that assistant to do when bringing that in. And, you know, you're always, as a small business owner, going to worry about budgets and things like that. But I will tell you this, my best friend, he's a financial advisor. His dad is a very successful financial advisor. When I started my own business, the first time I saw him, he said, "Hey, how's business going?" I said, "It's great." The first question he asked me, "Did you hire an assistant yet?" He said, "It will change your world." So that's where we're at.
Right. Another thing on that one is Loom. Have you heard of Loom?
I've not. What is Loom?
So Loom is pretty cool. LOOM. It's a program on the internet. You log into, but it records your screen. Right. It puts a little you have your camera goes, your microphone here, and a little picture of you. And it's recording your screen of what's going on your screen. So like Zoom records your stuff.
Yeah.
Loom will record your screen while you're doing it. So then when I'm going through like my social media.
So throughout your process, you're making a training video.
I'm making a training videos. Yeah.
Wow.
They're not professional.
Write that one down.
Right. Yes. So I Loom record everything I do now on the computer in sections. Like, so I'm Looming my video editing. So I can put that in the Loom. My assistant has opens up the link, learns it, and can do it now.
Wow.
She sees me do it. Instead of doing hands-on training with someone, I just record myself, the screen moving around, the little arrow. And
I think that's worth the price of admission for this entire conversation.
Yeah. Yes. That one has been really good.
Yeah.
I literally record everything I do every day and just make videos on it and put it in the library. And then she just pulls from it and learns something and does it.
Wow.
So now, but then anybody new coming in, that the new assistant can also have that same training on how to do these different things, aspects of the office.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm really, as a business owner approaching probably, well, I guess in June will be year 5.
Well, congratulations!
Out on my own, thank you. Yes, is those lessons of, like, when I had a VA, I look back at it now and I thought I was, but I was not set up for success at all. But I think something small like that gives the opportunity to just get so far ahead very, very quickly. And I've had many lessons like that. So I'm going to take that and see what we can do.
I didn't even think about that one.
My processes.
Could just have the VA learn that way.
Gosh, almost like, okay, here, I'm going to show you what I do, but record yourself so that when I hire someone in person, they can reference all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when it comes down, I'm really trying to set myself up for success, just the internal infrastructure. So something as easy as, like, how are we going to pass a document back and forth?
Right.
And create that workflow.
Yeah.
So, I've worked with my IT guy. Hey, let's launch SharePoint. That way we can have some collaboration in the cloud.
Right. OneDrive's good. SharePoint.
But I would love to get to the point to where someone's checking my emails, sending documents out of my document tree.
Right.
All of those types of things. So I can concentrate on what I love doing most, which is talking with people and servicing their insurance needs.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's been good. She goes in, checks all my emails. I have 3 email accounts, different businesses. And then labels off to the side, little folders on my email,
Mm-hmm.
and categorizes each one and then deletes the rest.
How are you categorizing? Are you like number one is like priority, or is it more like category of like, this is Medicare, this is funeral home stuff, this is...
So contracting stuff, commission-based stuff, and then a need to look at stuff at the bottom is the priority.
Well, you wear a lot of hats.
So, but I mean, it literally says need to look at stuff.
Okay.
In the bottom, and that's mine. So like she goes through and categorizes contracting, commissions, training stuff from carriers,
Mm-hmm.
kind of different things that, we can come back later to. And then the bottom one's like, you need to look at this stuff. And then, and every day at like noon, I just open it up, or at the end of the day, once a day, I open it up, look at the need to look at stuff, hammer those things out, and then go. But I don't have to open my email up and filter through 100 emails.
Oh man, I live and die in email.
But she just goes through and I've loomed that one out too, so she knows what's important, what's not important, and what to move, and just
I had 27
filters
emails.
It all out.
I had 27 emails by 8:15 this morning.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, I have so many emails, and then there's like on Google, on Gmail, you have the primary, and the updates and the social and the
I do that for my personal,
the different categories.
Mm-hmm.
Primary and the updates are the only one I really look at, but though that update one just fills up with carrier information. It's like, but sometimes stuff slips through the cracks, and then you're working with contracts. I'm like, hey, these contracts never went through, and the carrier's like, they went through. I'm like, I never got them. So now she catches all that, which is good, which has been super helpful. So if you can take something off your plate, it gives you a little bit more time to do something else, which has been great, on the recruiting side. Now, just going back to that, when, I have a handful of full-time agents, I have a handful of part-time agents, I have a handful of, agents figuring out, and I have a handful of contracting agents. So there's different categories of, steps along the way. People coming on contracting take time to learn to get up and running and then get to that full-time standpoint. So there's all this other work that I didn't see there, recruiting and helping people grow their business. Because all you see now is the end game. Like everything's so easy for me. And, I did this. I'm like, oh, that test is easy. Yeah. They're like, no, it's really hard. I'm like, really? You know what? Back when I first started, it was really hard.
Yeah.
Right? So it's figuring out, it's trying to piece all that other stuff back in. So now I'm like, I have to take this stuff off my plate so I can, help reload everybody at the beginning, and then work them through the build-up process to where they're comfortable enough to be out on their own doing, selling.
I think from that outside agent perspective, a lot of it comes down to what they're willing to do.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's huge. I mean, you gotta want this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but you need a team that wants to help you too. You gotta want it, but then you need that positive reinforcement to keep going out there and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
There's, when I first started, I bounced. I've been to multiple carriers, multiple companies, brokers. I'm in a good place now with a good upline and good people around me to where, I can help out. But, sometimes it's just, you need to just let people sink or swim.
Yeah.
And then see if they swim, then I'll help you out.
Right.
A little bit more, and we just keep pushing.
Or at least try.
At least try. Yeah, show me some effort on this.
Yeah. I think this has been a great conversation.
Yeah.
I got a lot of value out of it.
It's been good.
I hope everybody else got a lot of value out of it.
Yes, I hope everybody did too.
Yeah.
Right.
I like really where we're going with this, because we're not only addressing the insurance side of it, like, maybe it's a rant and a rave about actually doing insurance, but providing
a little
maybe
life, a little
inside
business.
information from a consumer standpoint.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, don't name your business the wrong thing.
Right. I mean, if you're not a racing company, don't name it a racing company.
Right.
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 If you're not a mountain climbing company, you just hike hills.
Right.
Don't put it as.
Don't be like danglingoffthecliff.org.
Right. I mean, come on now. If you want to get some insurance, then don't do that. Yeah.
My name is Casey Kendall, Prosperity North Advisors.
Voss Spiros, Arizona Medicare Insurance Solutions.
Thanks for joining us.
Hope you guys have a good day.